How you doing, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, whichever it may be. As you can see today, I'm taking a look at the Asmus Collectibles Evil Dead 2 Deadite Ash, just recently released. Just having a quick look at the box. You can see we have an image of the figure on the front of the box, the Evil Dead 2 font below him, and Deadite Ash below that. Really nice artwork on this box. Really nice artwork. You can see the house kind of faded into the sleeve of his shirt there. Really nicely done. The woods in the background, and a really nice image. And there are some reflective parts on the box, and it really kind of looks like he's coming out of that box. It's a really nice effect on it. It really looks like he's trying to come out of that box. It's really nice. On the side, the Evil Dead 2, and then on the back we had some details of the figure and some images, the alternate head sculpt, and some warnings. And I really like the way this guy is packed, because if I just get him out of the box here, and while I'm doing that, I'll urge you to hit that subscribe button, please. And I'll just move this lid out of the way, and he's packed into some foam there, and there's this piece here that covers it as well, that came out with the lid of the box. Very nicely packed in foam. Good quality foam as well. It's not that cheap hard foam that some figures come in. It's a really nice quality, on par with Hot Toys foam that comes with their figures. And on the inside shelf there, we do have the hard foam there with all the bits and pieces that come with them. And there goes the silica gel. So without further ado, let's get into the details, and let's get him out of the box and give him a quick pan. So here we are for a quick pan up of the Deadite Ash figure by Asmus Collectibles. You can see we have some of the accessories there, some of the pages of the Necronomicon. We have Deadite Ash on the nameplate. We have Linda's necklace in the shape of a skull on the floor there, and at the back you can see the hand making that gesture that it does in the movie. And I might say it doesn't stand up very well, that hand. I've had to prop it up on that pole. Moving up is very grubby and very weathered trousers. And again, his shirt, very grubby, very weathered. And you can see the axe in his hand there. And this is one of the two head sculpts. And this is probably my preferred head sculpt for him. It just looks that little bit more gruesome and movie accurate, in my opinion. And you can see how dirty and grimy those hands are as well. I wouldn't mind pulling that sleeve up on that left arm there just to hide that joint, which would be possible. I just didn't really notice it until I pressed the record button. So that's it for a pan of the figure. Let's get into the accessories. And here we have all of the accessories that come with the Deadite Ash, and I'm just going to get these two head sculpts out of the way because the camera keeps focusing on them. Two different head sculpts. We will have a bit more of a closer look at them in a few moments, but I just want to move them out of the way because the camera keeps focusing on them, as I said. So then we have his hands, and he has 8 hands, 4 sets, and 2 gripping hands, 2 kind of more open palm gripping hands there. He has 2 finger pointing hands for his left hand. It kind of has a gesturing hand here. It's almost like a finger clicking kind of, finger snapping kind of hand. And then he has kind of a pinky finger hand there that kind of reminds me a little bit of Dr. Evil, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, so you can see they're painted quite well, in the sense that there's a lot of dirt and grime on them. They're very grubby, they're very dirty. Each hand is kind of speckled, and the right hands are painted a bit different to the left. The right hands seem to have some blood on them, just like in the movie. And then the right hands just have filth and dirt and grime and some splatter on them. Very dirty, grimy, painted hands there. They are pale as well, which match how he was in the movie. He was very pale when he became Deadite Ash. So, not too bad, the hands, not too bad. They're not, fantastically detailed, but the paint on them makes up for that. Then we have his axe, all made out of plastic. There's no wood in it, and there's no, the top of it there is plastic as well. It's not die cast or anything, which is good because they're not the strongest joints on the figure. So if any of that was die cast or wood, it'd be too heavy for the figure. Then we have his bandaged part for his severed hand, and it's painted differently to the original Ash Williams part. That you get the same part with the original Ash Williams figure. Then we have this little chap here. This is the severed hand, and as you can see, it is making the gesture just like it does in the movie when Ash is shooting at it. It's quite well detailed. You can see the gore and the blood and the bones sticking out of it there. It's quite well painted. There's a bit of gloss to it to make it look like, wet blood. There's some skin and bone exposed there. The torn skin and the exposed bone there. And some blood on the fingers. And the mold is quite good. You can see the nails kind of, digging into the palm there, which is a nice bit of detail. And the paint, the nail here is quite painted quite well. So it's a nice little accessory to have because it's quite an iconic moment in the movie and quite a funny scene in the movie where he's trying to dispatch his own hand. Then we have the pages of the Necronomicon. And you can see they are quite well detailed. There's quite a nice bit of artwork to them. And as far as I can remember, they're all very accurate pages from the actual book in the movie. And they've got some kind of burned effect to the edges of them, and they're all separate pages, So yeah, nice little addition to have. They didn't come with the original Ash Williams figure, so nice to have those loose pages from the Necronomicon. And then we have this accessory that I'm not particularly fond of. Well, it's okay. They should have just given us a necklace as well. They've sculpted the necklace into the shape of a skull, just like it is in the movie when he reaches down to pick it up. It does look exactly like this, but unfortunately, it just the effect doesn't look as good as I think they intended. And they should have given us a loose necklace as well for that part where he picks it up and he's holding it in his hand. I think they should have given us that necklace, a loose necklace as well. But it is what it is. So that's it for the accessories. So let's move on and take a look at the figure itself. So here we have the Deadite Ash pretty much straight up as he comes out of the box. And if I just move him out of the way, we'll have a quick look at the base. You can see it is identical to the base from the original Asmus Collectibles Ash Williams, or Ash Willems, if anybody recalls. They misspelt his surname on the nameplate on the original one on the first batch or two. But it's the same base. It just says Deadite Ash on it. It has all the same blood splatter on the wood grain effect floor on it there, and it has the same pole for standing the figure as well. So nothing new there, but wasn't necessary. So as for the figure itself, starting off my usual fashion, starting from bottom to top, we'll have a look at his footwear, and you can see there it is the identical footwear from the original Ash Williams. The toe part there might be a bit overpronounced. It could possibly be a steel toe boot, I suppose. A little bit of weathering around the sole of them there, and a bit of dry brushing. And the material itself, the black kind of patches there have a bit of a dry bush over them and a bit more weathering at the top there. The lace has a bit of blood on it, a couple of drops of blood on it, which is nicely done. I don't think that's on the original one, I'm not sure. The lace down it isn't too bad, but the lace at the top there doesn't have a huge amount of relief off it, but it will be covered by the trousers, so it's not the end of the world. And we do have a molded sole there with some weathering on it, which looks great, looks the part. Moving up to the trousers, they are severely weathered. If I can just get this back over the boot, there we go. It does have the little tear in them there, which is movie accurate, but again, just like the original figure, there is no actual contusion or lesion on the leg itself, which is a missed opportunity. It's a little bit inaccurate, but you can see that he does have a lot of weathering and a lot of splatter effect all up the leg of the trousers. They're quite weathered, which is really nice that they've gone to that length, to really dirty them up. They are the same trousers, they're just as the original figure, they're just a little bit darker and weathered in a different way. They don't conform to the body extremely well. They're a little bit rigid, and I think that's a lot to do with the weather and the paint on them. The pockets are okay. He's got very, very small pockets at the front here, which he's definitely not going to be sticking his hands in those pockets, I can tell you. Really cheap pleather belt on him there. Really cheap pleather belt. I might replace that belt, to be honest. Moving up to the shirt, he has his extremely weathered and dirty, grimy shirt on him there. Movie accurate. I think the colour of this shirt is more accurate than the original figure they brought out of Ash Williams. You can see where the colour was in place there, where they airbrushed, and it's just not in the right place anymore. The colour is kind of moved, so you can see that line there where they've sprayed over it. It's not the end of the world, but not ideal either. More weathering up the sleeve there, a lot of dirt and grime, and kind of a bit of a red hint to some of the, with some of the weathering as well. Just gives a slight little blood effect off it. Around the back again, even more splatter of mud and grime all over the back of this shirt. Really weathered figure. There's a whole lot of weathering all over it. Just looking at the hands again there, you can see that they do match the weathering on the rest of the figure. A lot of filth and grime on the hands as well, which is, in theme. All looks the part. The body itself is very thin. There's no ab crunch in it. It's rigid in the ab. It's a very light body. He has a double bend in the knee joints, and he has a double bend in the elbow joints as well. Like I said, no torso flex to the side or to the front, and the top of the legs are ratcheted, so there is a little bit of strength in the body. You can see that clip there, that press stud isn't ideal, and the shirt is just pulling so tight on the body that it's just revealing that press stud there. Not really happy about that. It's not ideal. You can see it there. It's not ideal. You can see the body of it there. It does have kind of a sleeve put over the body, a rubber kind of sleeve, very pale, just like he was in the movie when he was Deadite Ash anyway. There's a bit of movement in the neck as well. It's not just the head sculpt that moves. The neck does move as well, but it does kind of contort the rubber sleeve that's over it when you move the neck a bit too much. So, there's also a bit of blood on the neck as well, which is a little bit pinkish. It's a little bit pink, a little bit off-putting. I might touch that up myself. Like I said, the body's really small. It's really light. It's really thin. It is most definitely on par with a third-party body, really. But what I'll do now is I'll go through the head sculpts. We'll get a close-up on them and see the details. So here we have head sculpt number 1. This is the head sculpt he comes with out of box. And I think it's fine. I'm quite happy with it. It's got all the right details to it. You can see the pronounced kind of cheekbone here and around up into his eyes. You can see he has the white deadite eyes on him as well. Quite a lot of blood around his mouth, and the teeth looks very separated and look fairly decent. They look the part. They look good. There is a separation in them there and a wash in them. And I'm not sure if you can pick up on it or not. If I can get that down, you can see inside the mouth there is a tongue, and it is a separate piece that's pushed into the head sculpt from inside. But the tongue is a bit pale. I can't really tell whether it's unpainted or whether it's painted really pale, but I'm not sure. But I'd be inclined to think that they didn't paint it, to be honest. But it's very difficult to see. It's not a deal breaker. It's very difficult to see, but it is a bit pale. That tongue is, I'm not sure I wouldn't say that's movie accurate. Again, with all the little bit of splatter on the skin, on the forehead, some blood in all the right places. The hair mold is okay as well. It's not the worst head mold for hair I've ever seen. It does have a separate piece on the front here. I'm not sure if you can pick up on that, but there is a separate piece glued onto the front for the bit that hangs over. And it gives, you can see there where the mold ends and where the piece that's glued on attaches. It's not ideal that, the hair looks like it's brushed backwards, and then the piece that's stuck on just doesn't seem to be glued on far forward enough. It should be a bit more forward to hide that part of the sculpt. Yeah, not the best. It's okay, but I do like the separation in it there at the front and how it hangs over, and you can see the blood all in the hair as well. it's a satisfactory hair sculpt, I suppose you'd say. I've seen worse. You can see where they've done the separate piece here. The separation in it there. That is a separate piece there that is glued on. I've only just realised that is a separate piece that's glued onto the head sculpt to show more depth. And it's done quite well, because I didn't actually notice that when I first looked at it. It took me a minute to realise that. So there is head sculpt number 1. I'm quite impressed with it. I think it looks fairly decent. It looks like he did in some of the scenes. But moving on to the other head sculpts, and in my opinion, this head sculpt here is more accurate to how he looked in the movie. It's a slightly different expression. You can see the mouth is quite different. It's more drooped down. I do believe that this one is slightly more accurate, especially for the scene where he picks up the necklace and he gets really sad, and then he transforms back to Ash Williams. The teeth aren't too bad. They're not as separated as the other head sculpt. He's got the pronounced brow as well, and the Deadite Ash eyes. He's got a bit more blood on this sculpt around the hairline there. It's a bit more depth in the mold there as well, on the little scars at the side. Same on this side here. Again, on this side, a bit more blood in the hairline. We'll do a side by side in just a moment, and we'll compare the two head sculpts. The hair is identical to the other head sculpt, except the bit at the front here that I had an issue with on the other mold is a bit more hidden. It's like the separate part is glued on a bit more forward on this one, and it looks better looking at it from the front, but it just pronounces the separation at the front, at the top a bit more, but not a deal breaker. And then at the back we have the separate piece again, so it is more or less the same hair sculpt, just the facial expression is slightly different. So let's get them side by side and we'll do a comparison with the two head sculpts. So here we have the two head sculpts side by side, and you can see that the facial expression is slightly different. Is it different enough to warrant two head sculpts? Yeah, probably, but I do believe the one on the left hand side is the more accurate one. And if it only came with the one head sculpt, the one on the left hand side, I wouldn't be upset. It's the one I'm going to be using. I won't be using the one on the right. I just don't think it looks enough like Bruce Campbell did with all the prosthetics on him. I think the one on the left looks far more like Bruce Campbell. The shape of the nose and the shape of the jawline looks more like Bruce Campbell in the movie. You can see the differences in the sculpt from the side there. Even the blood applications and the scar at the side of his face where they've put the prosthetics on to make it, with the blood in it. The mouth looks more accurate to that scene where he picks up the chain. So they are different enough, I suppose. But moving on, what we'll do is we'll do a comparison between the original Asmus Collectibles Ash Williams figure, or Ash Willems, as they got the name plate wrong in the first couple of batches of the figure. You can see they pretty much use the same body. As far as I can tell, it's the same body. It's exactly the same height and seems to be exactly the same width. Trousers are a slightly different tone and the shirt is a slightly different tone. But he ends up in a pool of muck when he's possessed. So, the shirt should be a lot more dirtier and muckier and grimy. But I think the colour of the shirt on Deadite Ash is more accurate than the Ash Williams figure. I think the Ash Williams one is a bit bright, but they do stand beside each other quite well, and they do look the part. Not a massive fan of the head sculpt on the Ash Williams figure. I do have a full review of the Ash Williams figure on my channel, and I'll put a card up in the corner for that. But looking at the two of them together, you can see they have the same boots on, painted slightly different. The ones on the original figure look a bit more grubbier and grimier, so I might swap them over to make the Deadite Ash look more accurate and more grimy. But in regard to the bodies, they seem to be identical. They both feel like they weigh the same. They're both very light. They're pretty much, identical in proportions. So I'm convinced it's the same body. Obviously they come with different accessories. The figures come with different accessories. Some of the hands are copied over from the previous figure. No big deal. But apart from that, they do come with different accessories. And there is actually a head sculpt that comes with the original Ash Williams figure, and it's not the best, to be honest, compared to the newer ones. It's not as accurate and not as well detailed and not as well sculpted. The teeth aren't great on it, and it doesn't even sit on the body very well. It never sat on the Ash Williams body very well. It always left a gap, and there was some QC issues. And I'm just wondering, will this head sculpt, just to see, will this head sculpt fit on this body? And no, it doesn't. It doesn't really fit on. It doesn't look the part. The tones, obviously, the color tones are wrong, and it doesn't fit low enough. The QC issues with that head sculpt were terrible. It never fit on the Ash Williams, and nor does it fit on the Deadite Ash. So really a useless head sculpt. These Deadite Ash head sculpts are far superior to this one here anyway, you know. And what I'll do is I'll actually just do a quick close-up on this head sculpt, just to kind of show you how bad it really was. And here we go. Here's the original head sculpt that came with the very first Ash Williams from Asmus Collectibles. And as you can see, they're just holding these two new ones, updated ones, either side, and it's nothing compared to those head sculpts. It's a really poor effort. It's not even the right shades of skin, not as much detail in it. The teeth aren't done very well. The hair isn't too bad. I didn't mind the hair on this sculpt. It's just that the accuracy is not there at all, and the quality control issues with this head sculpt were terrible. It would never sit on the... It doesn't even sit on the neck of this one very well. It makes the head look too long. It's not a great head sculpt at all. I never even considered using it. It's always sat in the box. So there we go for a quick look at the original head sculpt, the original Deadite Ash head sculpt that came with the original figure. So there we have it, guys. That's pretty much it. I would urge you to smash that like and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, and it does help to spread the video around so other people can see it. And I'm going to leave you with some images of the figure there. It looks really, really well in some poses. It complements the original Ash Williams figure very, very well. Not the highest quality, but Asmus are Asmus. They never do high quality premium figures. And the price might have been a little bit high for what it is as well. You know, it was a little bit pricey for the quality of the body and that you get with it. But I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead, so be it. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.